Hi, and welcome to The Bright Balloon, a podcast where I'm sharing bright ideas for your balloon business. My name is Sarah Meyer, and I'm a balloon business owner like you, and I love the creative side of what I do, but I really love the business side, which seems to be the part where most people struggle. So I'm here to help. Each week, I'm bringing you an episode full of bite-sized tips you can use to make improvements in your business. I want you to make more money, eliminate stress, and learn along with me as we grow our creative businesses together. Welcome to The Bright Balloon, presented by 17 Hats. Hello and welcome back to another episode. Today, I am chatting about things that we do to ourselves, or at least I know I do this to myself, and I think it is the meanest thing that we can do to ourselves as small business owners. And that is this idea of moving the goalpost. This has been a concept that I've been thinking about probably for the last 6 months. And being aware of this concept has made me aware of how much I do it to myself. It really is a form of self-sabotage. I feel like it's a way to be really mean to myself mentally. It's like torture. And I think a lot of us do it unintentionally, and I am going to be chatting about ways that we can prevent ourselves from moving the goalpost, kind of tricking ourselves into thinking we're less successful than we actually are, self-sabotaging along the way, and talking about healthy ways that we can use goal setting and put guardrails on our businesses and our lives so that mentally we just feel a lot better about what we are doing as small business owners. So we are going to take a quick break to head to the UGlue hotline, and then we'll get into this episode. Welcome to the UGlue hotline, where we discuss great advice that sticks. Brought to you by Pro Tapes. If you have a question or some great advice to share, click the link in the show notes to call in and leave a voicemail.
Hi, this is Holland from Balloonacy in Atlanta. Hope you're having a great day today. My question is, with all of the social media things that we need to post daily and hourly and minutely, it seems, how do you find time to actually do everything? Because there's so many different components of our life. And I know we could outsource, but if it's not in your budget, what's really the best way to accomplish those tasks?
Hello, Holland. Thanks for calling in. Oh my gosh, this is the $1 million question, right? It's like every day there's a new app that we're supposed to be on and new trends and new music and all the things. So my advice is to pick a few platforms. Like, I am not active on TikTok. I probably should be. I've never been on Snapchat. I'm too old. So I really have chosen Instagram and Facebook for the ones that I tap into. And that is because that's where most of my customers are. So I use Facebook for like local business to business. Instagram is kind of like my living portfolio. And it is a bit more like searchable. Like I do feel like people find me on Instagram. It's fun to be able to tag local businesses and be found that way. So I use a platform called Later, and it's a scheduling app. The reason that I like it is because you can upload a bunch of photos from your phone. So it has an app, but it also has a desktop version. So I can upload everything kind of on the go and just have a bank of photos. And then say I choose, 3:00 as the time that I want to post every single day. You can literally just like drag and drop a bulk selection of photos, and it'll schedule one of them every single day at 3:00. That, for me, has made the process a lot easier, just doing it in batches. However, I will say I have recently outsourced some of my social media. So I'm working with a virtual assistant, and we have a shared album just on our iPhones. So I will then drag and drop photos from my phone into a shared album so that she has access to them, and then she now does the scheduling. So if I kind of trail off for a month or two, I at least know that my account is going to stay active. And then when I feel like it, I can post on the fly. I do a lot of posting on stories when I'm on installs. I just feel like that's easier. It's like lower stakes because those go away after 24 hours. And then I have everything kind of automatically posted over to Facebook from Instagram. So I'm cutting a lot of corners. I am definitely not a social media pro. But I think the other unpopular opinion is like not to worry about it. Like I have a lot of customers that aren't on any social media, or they are, but booking balloons is just part of their job. They're not going to like seek me out in their free time to like interact with me on social. So I think keeping your current customers happy via, phone calls, emails is almost more important. That is kind of the direction that my business has gone. So don't beat yourself up. I do not know. I feel like it is always an uphill battle and things are always changing. I'm just not willing to commit an unnecessary amount of time to it. And mentally, I find being on Instagram kind of distracting. Like I see what other people are doing in my area and it can get in my head. So I kind of choose not to. So I don't know if that's good advice or not, but I'm right there with you. It is a struggle. I think do what works best and don't kill yourself over it. As long as you have business, that's all that matters. Pro Tapes is a leading manufacturer of specialty tape products like Pro Gaff, Pro Artist Tape, and our favorite balloon tape, U-Glue, which helps you create amazing balloon arrangements and decorations in less time. You can save 5% on U-Glue when you buy directly from Having a Party using code BRIGHT at checkout. Okay, welcome back. So, moving the goalpost. What does that mean? I am a huge goal setter. I love setting goals, and there is, scientific backed research that shows that when you write down your goals, you're much more likely to accomplish them. And I think that is because when we don't write them down, we forget what they are. And then that is when we move the goalpost on ourselves. We are going after something, and then midway, we change it up. And now we're going after something else. And then all of a sudden, we feel like we're failing in all of these areas of our business. I know I certainly do this. I'll start the year with an idea. I'll accomplish that. But then all of a sudden, it doesn't feel good because now the goalpost is somewhere else, right? I'm trying to accomplish something else that I never really set out to accomplish, but somewhere along the line, it just became something that I felt like I should be focused on or working towards. So I feel like Instagram is a huge derailer in my life. I will be focusing on corporate, and then all of a sudden I'll see on Instagram someone offering, like those Christmas elves is a perfect opportunity. And all of a sudden I'll feel like I need to start offering Christmas elves. And then all of a sudden I'm not paying attention to corporate anymore. I'm paying attention to Christmas elves. And not only did I move the goalpost, I removed the goalpost. Like it's totally gone. I'm not even looking to score anymore. I'm just like running around the field aimlessly. I have no strategy. I have no game plan. And the worst is when you did have a game plan, but you abandon it for something else. This could also be because of like shiny object syndrome, right? Like you see this bright, shiny object, this new idea that suddenly seems like the best thing ever. And you just abandon your entire strategy for the month or the year, or you just feel aimless. So I love this idea of at the beginning of the year, or right now is when I set my goals. November is always my goal setting month. Set the goal, like the actual physical goal. And then all year, or maybe you break your goals down into months, you're going to be playing a game and trying to score on that goal. It doesn't move. No one's going to pick it up and shift it. And the only person who can really pick it up and shift it is you. And I feel like that's the biggest way that we self-sabotage. We literally just move the target, we move the goal, and then all of a sudden we're lost. So this whole episode is geared around challenging ourselves to put practices in place so we're not doing that to ourselves anymore. We're not setting ourselves up to feel bad like we missed the goal even though we're the ones that moved it. So like I said, I feel like when I do this to myself, it tends to feel like I'm falling behind in all categories because I'm not really focused on any one thing. So the first strategy that I want to share about how to essentially set the goal is to set goals. Actually write them down. Sit down and think about what your goals are for this next year. And I feel like this is something that everyone does, but it really isn't. I feel like I am definitely in the minority when I actually take time, I sit down and I set goals. And I'll tell you when I do it. Every year, it's in an airplane and it's on the way back from Balloon Boss Summit. So this is an event that I attend every November. It's usually like the first or second week of November. And I get super amped up for the year. Like if you guys have not been to Balloon Boss Summit, it just ended. It just concluded. You can head over to ballooncoach.com and learn all about it. But this is an event that I prioritize that I'm going to be at because I know it sets my focus for the year. And then when I come home, I'm going to have an hour or two set aside in an airplane to write down my goals for the year. And I try to stick to those goals. I try not to change them, which is why I don't write them down in haste, right? I'm not just like winging it and like writing something down just to write it down. These are going to frame the next year of my life and my business. So I want to take the time to actually write them down. This is also a little promotional plug. The updated Bright Balloon Business Planner is released. It's on Amazon. Same format as in years past, if you've gotten it before. It's a new cover. It's really cute and retro. And then this is a goal planner just for your business. So this is not where you're going to write down like your shopping list or your personal goals or your kids' dance lesson schedule, right? This is just a little planner to set your goals for your balloon business. And the way I like to do it is to set 4 pretty big goals, pretty lofty goals, and then break those down into little mini goals. So things that are more easily accomplished in like 1 or 2 goes. So for example, one of my big goals for this year was a sales goal of $250,000 in sales. That by itself is like a pretty big goal. You know, it makes me feel kind of aimless. So one of the ways that I set one of the goalposts is that I want to secure a $25,000 job. That was one of my goals this year. And I had that in my brain and I was looking for opportunities to do that. And I was working my network and I did. I'm excited that I did secure a very large event. And then you can break it down into smaller action steps. So what do I need to do to get that large job? Well, I need to meet with, these 2 businesses that I think are probably my biggest clients. I need to make sure that I'm touching base with them at least once a month via email. They're going to be my top priorities when I'm networking at events or on LinkedIn. I know they have huge Christmas parties. That's probably going to be my biggest opportunity. So I need to really, really hit it hard September, October to try to secure that December event, right? So like I am focused on that one thing all year long, and I'm setting up these little mini steps in order to accomplish my goal. Are you ready to take your balloon business to the next level? Look no further than Having a Party Wholesale, your ultimate destination for all things balloons. At Having a Party Wholesale, they're not just a distributor, they're your partner in success. With the latest and greatest in balloon innovations, they're on the cutting edge of new products that will wow your clients. From top brands like Tuftex, Jamar, Anagram, Ellie's, Premium Conwin, and more, they've got the widest selection to fuel your creativity. Elevate your balloon business with premium quality balloons and accessories that'll make every event unforgettable. Join the successful league of professional balloon artists who shop at havingaparty.com. Anyway, this is not going to be all about goal setting. I have many episodes about goal setting. It's something I love doing. I love working through. We'll link those in the show notes if you want more about actually setting goals. But you can go to Amazon and search the Bright Balloon Business Planner, or just use the link in the show notes if you'd like to order a hard copy. So I like having that. I created that for myself before I started selling it because I wanted one place where I knew that I wouldn't lose it and I could go back to it all year long and like make notes and make updates and kind of track my progress. That's where the whole business planner came from. And it's now on its 3rd year. So I have updated my copy and I am currently finishing up my goals. I set those on the airplane and then I kind of break down the mini steps as I have more time to think about them. So the best way I think to not move the goalpost on yourself is to set it firmly, figure out what it is, and then don't touch it, right? Like there are those goals that you set that halfway through the year, you realize you're just not that passionate about. That is different than setting a goal and then halfway through the year, all of a sudden you feel bad because you didn't accomplish this other goal that you never even really had, right? You just like make up a new goal that suddenly you think is what you should be focusing on, even though you've done none of the groundwork to be able to accomplish that goal. That would be something like halfway through the year, I decide I want 100,000 followers on Instagram. Well, I've done nothing to do that or to accomplish that. I've not worked in that direction. And then all of a sudden I just feel bad that I don't have 100,000 followers on Instagram, right? That's moving the goalpost. We don't want to do that. If you want that many followers, that's great. That should definitely be a goal that you then break down into action steps that you work on all year long. Now, the other thing, this is like a little mini hack for goal setting, and then we'll move on. But I think the simplest thing, other than writing down kind of your full strategy and plan in a planner or on paper, is to take an index card with your top goals for the year and write them out and stick them in a little window in your wallet. I've talked about this before. It's like the little window where your ID would go. This is a Denise Duffield Thomas hack, and I swear by it. I write out my goals, I stick them in a little window, so every single time I pull out my wallet, I'm looking at those goals. And because I see them every single day, I know what they are, and when I get to cross one off, it feels super, super good. So if you're going to do one goal-setting thing this year, write them out on a little index card, stick it in your wallet where you can see it multiple times a day. And you are going to be so much less likely to self-sabotage and change things up and all of a sudden feel bad that you're not accomplishing things that you're not even passionate about or working towards. All right, let's move on from actual goal setting and talk about eliminating distractions. For me, I think this is where I move the goalpost, right? Like I set my goals. And last year, I have my planner actually right in front of me. I will tell you what my goals were last year. I wanted to make more money working less. That was a big goal. And I was going to do that by learning how to travel for free with credit card points. I wanted to sell 200 grab-and-go garlands because those are pretty automated. And I wanted to bring in a couple more sponsorships on the podcast. I'm very excited that I have accomplished all of those. I think I'm a little short on the grab-and-goes, but they definitely were a very large source of income this year for me. And that was awesome. Now, that was my goal. If all of a sudden, midway through the year, I felt bad that I didn't have a retail location because everyone else was moving into retail and suddenly I should have retail and I want to sell cute paper plates and party goods and I'm a loser because I don't have a space to rent out. That doesn't align with my goal like whatsoever. It's fine if my goal was to open a retail location, but like it wasn't. So I am then moving the goalpost on myself and feeling crappy about something that I never even set out to do. If anything, it kind of goes against my goal for the year, right? Make money working less. Opening a retail location is really hard. That would be make money working more. That would be a total shift in my business plan and not something that I had set out to do at all. So while things can shift, I think we kind of like play mental tricks on ourselves. And all of a sudden we just like invent these things that we feel like we should be doing when we've done none of the work to accomplish that. Another one of my mini goals in order to accomplish that big sales goal was to increase corporate. So like I mentioned, again, sometimes I get distracted by things I see on Instagram. I see someone offering some super cute thing that doesn't appeal to corporate at all, but it's so cute. So I want to offer it. And all of a sudden I am abandoning my goal and my strategy because of something that distracted me, right? So I have put on some blinders this year. I have unsubscribed or muted some accounts that tend to have that effect on me. Local accounts have that effect on me. Other balloon people, even if they're friends of mine, I tend to mute their accounts because I'll be feeling really good about my business and the direction it's going. But then all of a sudden I see someone close to me get a really big job. And it's like, for whatever reason, it can just make me feel bad about myself and it just derails me. And I feel like I'm not doing anything right or I'm somehow behind. And it's like, behind what? Behind their sales goal? Maybe, who cares? But I tend to struggle the most on Instagram. Maybe for you, it's Facebook. Maybe for you, it's Instagram accounts. But if there's anything that is like distracting you from your actual goals or giving you too many ideas that then you go off and you buy a bunch of new supplies that you don't need, or, you know, if it's mental, you see someone being successful and that somehow gets in your head, I would eliminate that distraction. And it might not be other balloon people. It could be like flowers, for example. Maybe you love seeing beautiful florals, or you see the fringe that people are doing on the ceilings, or you see all of the beautiful rentals. And even though that's not in your business plan, that doesn't align with your goal, maybe you can't help but get distracted by all these flashy things out there that you wish you had. Or maybe you actually buy those things and then they sit in storage and you don't actually rent them out. So it's this idea that you're going online and scrolling and you're letting other people derail your goals. That can be the thing that moves your goalpost. So instead, we want to stay firmly planted. We want to remind ourselves what our goals are, how we're planning to accomplish those, and then everything else that kind of gets in the way or interferes, we just want to shut that down. And I think that's really hard. And most of the time it's mental, but I think that's the thing that derails us most of the time. It's our own mental ideas or thoughts or problems kind of getting in our own way. So you want to eliminate any of those distractions. Now, the next thing that I think is really important is to define your why. And I know this is cliche. This is something that people talk about all the time. I've always struggled with it because I'm always like, oh, my why is my daughter, blah. But like, that's everybody's why, right? Like everybody's why is to support their kids or to have some sort of lifestyle that they want. But my big goal for 2024 is to really think about this. I am trying to figure out truly what is my goal, my purpose, my why. Is it to grow a huge business that one day I can sell? Is it to employ a lot of people? Is it to be recognized for my creativity? Is it to work as little as possible and make as much money as possible? Or is it just to have a job that I like that pays the bills, right? Like those are all very different things and they look very different, but I'm always trying to hit all of those things simultaneously. And that's where I feel like I do the most goalpost moving, right? Like I keep my head down, I'm grinding, I want corporate work, and that's paying the bills, and I'm happy. Then I see some amazing installation online, and I could never do anything that beautiful or creative, and my balloons don't look that good, and now I feel bad about myself. When nobody is telling me I'm not a good artist. Nobody is telling me that they're not paying for balloons because I'm not super creative, right? Like I now have somehow put this new obstacle in place that I not only have to be super profitable, but I have to be super creative and I have to go super viral on Instagram. And also I want to have all these employees and this huge business and I want all the jobs. Like that's just impossible. It's impossible, but I do it to myself all the time. So one of the things that I really want to get super, super focused on is truly what is my goal? Do I want to be an artist? Do I want to have a job that I like, right? That provides for me? Do I want to hit $1 million in sales? Do I want to move into a warehouse and have employees and be really hands off in my business? Like none of these are right, but you can't do them all. I can't do them all. And it's when I kind of start conflicting all of these ideas in my own brain that I get really overwhelmed and I just kind of feel like a loser, right? Because I'm not doing all those things. I'm not doing any of those things, really. Like I just want to keep my head down and figure out what my why is. Like, why am I doing balloons? Is it so I don't have to work in an office so that I don't have to report to HR? Or is it because I just like making all the decisions? Is it because I want to make a ton of money? Is it because I want to be recognized for my creativity? Like all of those things are fine. They're just really, really hard to all focus on and accomplish at the same time. So I don't have the answer for this one. I would just challenge you, because I'm challenging myself, to really sit down and figure out what it is. I think it's going to make it easier when I see that amazing installation that someone is doing on the other side of the world that looks incredible, that I'll never have a chance to do. But that's okay because my goal is to stay in my corporate lane, making crazy money, doing simple balloons. Or maybe it's not, right? Like I might change my mind. I'm not really sure. I have kind of gotten a little bit more creative in the last couple months, maybe the last year. I've really wanted to push myself to do more interesting design, more interesting projects, but that doesn't always align with my goals. My goals to stay with corporate and push classic decor and to be able to outsource as much as possible. Sometimes those two things don't align with each other. So I need to actually figure out what I'm actually trying to do by having a balloon business. And I think a lot of us don't know, right? We're creative, we're good at it, it makes good money, and we just kind of keep going. But I think it gets to a point where you get frustrated, you're confused, you're not sure what direction you're going. I think this is the category where I am constantly moving the goalpost and I'm trying to play multiple games at the same time, and I don't even know where the goalpost is. So I am really trying to focus this year to figure out where I'm going. Where is my long-term goalpost, I guess I would say? Like, what's my career look like in balloons? Because right now my job is running Wisconsin Balloon Decor and doing this podcast. But like, what do I actually want to focus on the most? All right, let's take a quick break. Those are kind of big topics, right? Like this isn't a really neat and tidy episode, but I felt like it was something I wanted to talk about because I know in my private group chats that I have with friends, this is the stuff we talk about, right? Like this is the stuff we struggle with. It's setting those goals in the first place, then stopping yourself from getting distracted by other people and other businesses, and then kind of figuring out like what we're all doing this for, because there's easier ways to make money, right? Like there's easier ways to just go and phone it in and kind of half-ass it at a day job. Trust me, I've done it, but that's not what I want to do. So I'm trying to figure out why I'm doing this and what my ultimate goals are, and then how to stay focused. So we're going to take a quick break, and then I want to talk about a couple more guardrails, ways that we can actually set a strategy to go into 2024 focused on what we actually want and have ways to actually accomplish those things.
Hi, I'm Jeff from Balloon Suite. Following up with your existing customers is one of the best ways to grow sales and add new people to your customer list. You don't have to spend all of your effort seeking new customers every month and every year. You can do great marketing and great outreach to those customers you've already made happy, and you can use those relationships to grow your business. If you would like to learn more, come on over to balloonsuite.com. We offer sales and marketing packages designed to help you grow your business, and we offer an exclusive blog to our members with the expertise you need to grow your sales, particularly in this area of follow-up. You can learn more at balloonsuite.com.
Okay, welcome back. Now, if you answer some of those big questions, how are we going to keep ourselves accountable? Here are the things that I've come up with that I'm going to do. The one thing is any place I can set myself up with a guardrail, a way that I can't change where the goalpost is. I can't rewrite my goals. I can't change my strategy. I can't get distracted by every new idea or shiny object that I see. That is going to benefit me. So the biggest thing that I'm going to do is pre-plan my year. And a year seems like a long time, but the older I get, the faster it goes. So I'm going to pre-plan my year, and I'm going to break it down into quarters. And this was a tip that I heard from, I don't know, I think it might have been Amy Porterfield's podcast, but that you should only really be pushing one thing a quarter in terms of sales. So in your business, like I feel like sometimes we think every time we send out a newsletter, we have to be like pushing some new, great, shiny offering, or there's a new sale, or there's a new holiday, or whatever. We're just always changing. It's okay to only promote 4 things all year long. That way you're spending 3 months promoting one thing, 3 months promoting the next thing, 3 months promoting your third, and then ending your quarter with a fourth. So first quarter, you might promote grab and go garlands. That's it. Second quarter, you might promote corporate work. Third quarter, maybe you're promoting grab and go garlands again, or maybe you're promoting holiday sales, right? Like summer, 4th of July. I don't know. That's not even in the third quarter, but you know what I mean? So really pulling back on this idea of like always having things that you're promoting and selling. Most people aren't going to see that thing the first time you send out an email or the first post you do on Instagram. I think I have had to learn that as well, just to slow down in my marketing. Like you might promote New Year's Eve the entire last quarter. That might be the one thing that you promote because people are still going to book you for other events. But if you spend 3 months promoting the fact that you are the go-to decorator in your town for New Year's Eve, you're going to be swamped. Versus if you throw it into a newsletter once, you're not going to have as much of a draw. And I think slowing down marketing and being really intentional about what that marketing is will help us because we'll actually have the time to catch our breaths and not only think about what we want to promote, but figure out how we're going to promote that either on social, maybe emails, maybe we update our websites with a pop-up, maybe we put those things on our homepage, we talk about those things at networking events. Like it gives you clear talking points and a clear focus. So I think pre-planning your sales and limiting them to 1 a quarter. It doesn't have to be like one little promotion, one little rinky dink, but like, what is the thing you're focusing on? For example, corporate work. This quarter, I'm focusing all of my energy on getting more corporate. The second thing that you can plan out for your year is your big jobs. If you have annual jobs that are large, I would call these my big pumpkin clients, right? Like every year I have a huge back to school event for a local college. I want to put that on my calendar first. And if I have 10 jobs that are fairly large that I can schedule out my year, let's say 12, right? If I have 12 jobs, I have one a month, I am focusing on getting those jobs in those months. That alone is going to give me such a head start, but it's also going to keep me really focused. That is a guardrail, because all of a sudden when I start flailing and I start losing track of what I'm promoting or where I'm going or what I'm doing or who my ideal client is or what my style is, right? Like having a big job on a calendar kind of is something that removes some of that distraction or some of that noise, right? If at the end of the day, you can kind of focus on one thing that you're going to make sure you secure for this year, that already puts you ahead, and you can also plan the rest of your year around those events. Like you don't want to accidentally schedule a $200 birthday party the same weekend where you have your annual biggest job of the year. You want to prioritize. So this could also be called a calendar audit. I've talked about this before, just taking the time right now to go through all of your annual events and get those on your calendar now. This is also a good time to kind of edit. If there's an event you do every year that you hate, that sucks, get it off your calendar and get it out of your mind and just decide you're not going to take it this year. Replace it with a better event. I think sometimes we feel like we have to just keep taking the same jobs because we know they're coming and, we do them every year, but if they're terrible or you don't like working with that person, this is a good time to decide I'm probably not going to do this again this year. Like this was a nightmare in years past. I'm going to let myself go and not have to work with this person again. So pre-planning the year in terms of your jobs, I think is just as important as pre-planning with your goals, because you can make sure that those jobs that you're really planning on, that you're going to market to, that you're going to make sure you get again, you can make sure that those actually align with your goals, with your strategy. And it's almost like giving yourself a little head start on the year, because not only do you have the strategy, but you have the clients and the contact information to help start implementing. The other thing that I would encourage you to plan that I've gotten a little bit better about is planning vacations. I think some of what we do in our business is just like hustle overload. We feel like we have to take every single job, and if the weekend is free, it means that we did something wrong. Like we're lame because we don't have a job on a Saturday, versus setting certain times aside to take some time to yourself or to not burn out or to go on a family vacation. And I feel like the only way I'll actually stick to that is if I schedule out an actual vacation. If I just put on my calendar, like, don't book any jobs, give yourself a weekend off, I can tell you right now that something's going to come up. It's going to seem like a good idea, and I'm going to take that job on that weekend. The only time I really set time aside is when I'm physically removed and I'm like on a vacation. Along the same line, I would say you could pre-plan your conventions, your annual events that you want to attend. So look at your calendar and see, do you have any continuing education in the balloon world on your calendar? If not, those might be some kind of working vacations that you could schedule in now, and almost like milestones to get to throughout the year. Like, for example, I mentioned I just got back from Balloon Boss Summit. I go to that every year. It's always in November, and I have it on my calendar already for next year. I know that I'm going to go to that. We usually try to lump on a family vacation before or after because it's so close to Disney. I don't know that that's going to happen this next year because I'll have a new baby. But looking at my calendar and just like setting that time aside, my husband knows I'm going to be gone. I know that I'm going to be gone. I know that I'm going to set my goals during that time. It really is just like an advantage to pre-plan some of those things that if you're just going to wing it and try to schedule them in after the fact, it's a lot harder to do. Again, that's another example of a guardrail, because I'm putting it on my calendar now. Buying your ticket for something now might ensure that you don't derail and skip it, right? Because you got a job at the last minute. Like, set yourself up, set some accountability so you actually do the things that you want to do. And then this is one last little tip. For me, this is so simple, and it really helps me not move the goalpost. And this is just a note in my phone that I have on the Notes app. And the title is Ideas for Later. It sounds so silly, but anytime I see something that I really have to do, I will add it to my list of ideas for later. So sometimes that's something with the podcast, right? Like, oh my gosh, I have this idea. Now is not the time. That it wasn't a goal this year. I don't have the time to do it well. I'm just going to be distracting myself from my other goals that I actually need to be working on. So I'm going to put this idea on my list of things for later. Do it another time. Courses that I want to buy, I'll put that on here. Ideas for balloons. Maybe you see like those swags of fringe on the ceiling and you're like, I should start offering that. But maybe you shouldn't. Maybe now is not the time to run out and buy a bunch of plastic to cut up and make fringe if no one's ordering that yet. But maybe that is an actual revenue stream that you might want to implement later. I love having this long list of ideas for later. Most of the time, I don't do any of them. Most of the time, this is just a landing place for my ideas that kind of consume me so I can get them down on paper. I mean, it's digital, it's in my phone, but I can get them out of my head. They have a safe place to live. I'm not going to forget about them, but I don't have to go and do that right now, right? Like the other day, I was like, I should get a pottery wheel. No, Sarah, you shouldn't. That literally is not something you should do. But it seemed like fun in the time, it was like, oh, this would be such a good hobby. I don't have time for a hobby. I'm growing a baby. That's my hobby. So I think having this resting place for just like ideas for later, things that I know are a distraction that I'm just going to table and think about when I'm bored. Because guess what? You're never going to be bored. Very rarely are we looking for more things to fill our time. So I think if you just have a list of things that you're going to think about at another time, that saves me from spending a lot of money and committing to new hobbies or buying new inventory. It just spares me some of those distractions. It's a nice little guardrail that I'm able to put on myself. So that is all I have. I know this was a bit all over the place, but I didn't want to do another traditional goal setting episode because I have a lot of those and most of my goal setting techniques haven't changed because they actually work really well for me. So I utilize the Bright Balloon Business Planner. I do the little goal setting note card that I stick in my wallet. So I look at them all the time. And then really the rest of it is not moving the goalpost. Setting the goals isn't actually that hard. I think the hardest part of reaching your goals is not forgetting what they are or changing what they are or going in a different direction that you never needed to go. So this is my 2024 take on goal setting is to do it the tried and true way and then not move the goalpost. Do not set myself up for disappointment or failure or feelings of inadequacy because all of a sudden I've eliminated my own true north or my own target or my own goalpost, right? Like I want to stay focused this year. I don't have time not to be focused. So these are the strategies that I am putting in place so that I have better luck at achieving my goals and having a very good 2024. So I hope this helps. Again, lots of goal setting resources and episodes will be linked in the show notes. And you can head over to Amazon to grab your planner if that is your first step. I would recommend do not wait until the first of the year to set your goals. Do it now and get everything in place so that when the year comes, you are ready to hit it running and just kill it in 2024. I will talk to you in the next episode. Thanks for listening. As usual, I tried to keep it bright and light. Our presenting sponsor is 17 Hats, the CRM I use to cut the chaos and manage my entire balloon business. From the lead capture form on my website to workflows and email templates, invoicing and grab-and-go garland automated bookings, it's all powered by 17 Hats, the best customer relationship management system for balloon businesses. There's even a 50% off coupon code waiting for you in the show notes wherever you're listening. I'll see you next week in another episode.